From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Ksenia Lukic.
And I'm Laura Brodnick.
Now, on today's show, we are going to go down memory lane and revisit two of the beautiful stars from Dawson's Creek.
But first, I wanted to acknowledge a fandom that is having a very good week. And fandoms are my favourite things in the world. People who just latch onto something, become maybe too intense about it that they become society's outcasts, but they're happy and they're together, and that is the best thing.
The great thing about The Spill is this is where society's outcasts can come and
Exactly.
feel okay about their intense love of romance novels.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to cry over a fictional person and forsake your family, you go right ahead. So this week we had the news that Ali Hazelwood's The Love Hypothesis is officially getting a film adaptation. So if you're not across this book, it came out in 2021. It became a huge success. It was on the New York Times bestseller list. It's basically the story of a student named Olive who is kind of building up her romance to her friend, and she starts like a fake relationship with her college professor, but then it becomes very real life. And I actually haven't read it yet. It's on my list. I've heard it's a very smutty, sexy read that a lot of people love. I'm saving it until I go on holiday and I'm lying on a beach somewhere. But that opportunity has not presented itself, so maybe I just need to read it in my cold Sydney apartment.
I can't remember if I've read it. I have this problem where, because I read books so quickly because I just want to get through them of my ADHD, I just need to get to the end of them. Sometimes I forget if I've read a book until I go back and reread it because I reread things as well.
Yeah, I'm a big rereader as well, but the fact that you forget books is, I'm really upset for you.
No, I'm upset. But it's actually kind of good because then I go back and read it. But sometimes I forget that I've read them and then I go to start one that someone's recommended to me and then I'm like, oh, yeah, I have read this.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, look, a few books do blur together. So, yeah, this one came out in 2021, had a huge fandom straight away. And what's really interesting is that the author, Ali Hazelwood, it actually started as fan fiction. You know how fan fiction is, like, a lot of people publish on different sites all over the internet, and it's taking characters and stories from, like, other properties, but writing your own version of them.
Yeah, I heard this. I'm really struggling to see how this is linked to Star Wars.
Oh, so it's always a bit of a tenuous link. It's kind of like how 50 Shades of Grey is Twilight fan fiction. So like that author started writing Twilight fan fiction and then it morphed into 50 Shades of Grey. So like the setting, the character names, the storyline is different. It's more the dynamic that you carry over. Or like how the Shadowhunter books are like really loosely hooked on fan fiction from like Hermione and Draco from Harry Potter. So like super different settings. So this is hooked off the Rilo fan fiction, which is Kylo and Ren from the Star Wars movies, like with Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver. So obviously like their characters have a huge connection in those movies. I can just feel like the girls who are really intertwined in the, like my heart is beating so fast right now because I feel like the girls who are really intertwined in this fandom are screaming at me that I'm leaving out details. Guys, I'm just doing really top line. This isn't for you. So just hold on for a second.
And we're just, it's not out yet. This is just a casting announcement. This is top line.
But the casting is so important because so Ali was writing this fan fiction and she was writing what people wanted, which is obviously in that movie Rey and Kylo do share a kiss, but they don't have a full-on sexy love affair. That's what the fans wanted. So she has gone and written fan fiction about that. And it's important to note that most fan fiction ends up with different character combinations having sex, and we love that. And a literary agent reached out to her and was like, your fan fiction is really great. I can see that you're looking to develop it into a story. What can we do? And that's where the Love Hypothesis came from. It has the same dynamic with these characters. So when it was optioned for a film, people lost their minds over it and everyone wanted Adam Driver to play the lead male character in it because obviously it's based off him. And so it came out that Lily Reinhart from Riverdale is playing Olive in the movie, but no one knew who was going to play the lead character until it was announced recently that actor Tom Bateman would play him. It's not Adam Driver, but he is married to Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey in the Star Wars movies, and that is genius casting.
It is. Is it a bit like... It's a tenuous link. It's not super on the nose.
It's not a tenuous link. It's a full link.
No, but what I mean is like it's not, he wasn't in Star Wars, his wife was in
No, but he's married to the woman that inspired the movie that he's now starring in.
Yeah, look, I think it's great. I think people would have been even more excited if it was Adam Driver.
Yeah.
But this is
was just never going to, I mean, that would have been the coolest thing Adam Driver's ever done if he just fully lent into this fan fiction. But I don't think anyone thought we were going to get that. We thought it was going to be some nondescript actor. I don't know if maybe people in the fandom had heard like whispers of this, that Tom Bateman would like, it's just this really cheeky link to his wife and the people that are obsessed with him. It's funny because when Daisy Ridley was asked about this book years ago, she was like, oh, really? And then she tries to, because she's obviously very sweet, she was like, well, I just think it's really nice that people are reading a book inspired by us. And that's really lovely. And I feel really happy to be a part of it. But she was just oblivious. But I think her and her husband are very in the weeds on it now. But when I saw the casting news, it's so funny when you see something come from people's like dreams and their chats in the little corners of the internet and comes into reality. Because I haven't been this shocked by a piece of on-the-nose casting news since Lea Michele was announced in Funny Girl. I was like, when that happened, oh my God, it happened in the middle of the night. And like, I'm sure my neighbors heard me scream. It happened at like 1 a.m. Australian time. Because I was like, there's no way that Lea Michele is living out this Glee fantasy. And when I saw this news, it was kind of similar to that. Because I was like, wow, sometimes the fandom girls and the fan fiction girls, they just get what they want.
Yeah,
it's
look,
so nice.
Lily Reinhardt apparently has been looking for like a rom-com to be doing for a very long time. And so seeing this project, she saw this, she was like, I 100% am on board with that. She'd read the book. She's super, super keen and a big fan. So I'm excited to see what she does with it because I do really like her. And it'd be nice to see her as a romantic lead because we haven't really seen that so much in movie form from her. So we don't have a release date yet. We've got our casting and I think they're going to be starting to film this year. Now, in very, very excited news from anybody who grew up watching Dawson's Creek in the 90s, Katie Holmes is writing, directing and starring in the films, and she has cast her co-star from Dawson's Creek, Joshua Jackson, in the lead with her, which I just think is just so beautiful. What the storyline is of this particular trilogy is it's about sort of childhood sweethearts finding each other after a longer period of time. Now, if you don't know, you know, there's a little bit of history between Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson, which is why people are so excited. Now, we saw them on the streets. They were kind of just filming one of the more casual scenes. I don't know about you, but Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson kind of look like they need to be together. I know Katie's got a boyfriend at the moment, a new man, but they look really good together. And Joshua Jackson has aged like a fine wine. He's 47 years old. Have you seen those photos?
Hotter than ever.
Have you seen the stills from Deadline released a story announcing this Happy Hours film trilogy, and the photo of the two of them together? Wow.
Yeah, the chemistry is palpable. It always has been. They've always just been one of those on-screen couples where it just jumps through the screen at you.
Yeah, so the trilogy is following these two people. They're, you know, navigating love, career, and family challenges as adults. That's just the line from the show. This is their first on-screen reunion since Dawson's Creek ended in 2003.
Yes. And I think that, well, they have been pictured over the years together, but there was a huge period of time, especially like in the 10 years or so after Dawson's Creek, where aside from Michelle Williams and Busy Phillips, who are like best friends, the cast were very separate from each other. That's also when Katie was going through the whole Tom Cruise situation, so that's fair. But it's so interesting. I mean, they only dated for a year back in 1998. So I feel like all of that passed. Like, they were basically kids at the time.
And they were, and Katie said that, she said in interviews before that he was her first love.
Yeah,
and that's
I believe
so
it.
sweet.
He was
I
my
believe
first love too. It's okay, Katie, we're the same.
They were each other's first love, and it's really sweet. But the fact that she has so much control over this movie and she's brought him on, that says a lot to me.
Yeah, it does. I think she definitely knows what she's doing in terms of getting all the eyeballs on this movie, of people being so invested in their relationship. But also, like, when you hear what you're saying is that it's coming from this place of sweethearts who are now adults and refinding each other, is like very on the nose of what people want for them. And I find interesting about like, the lore of their relationship, because obviously they were both cast on Dawson's Creek in 1998, and when they got together, their love story was such a huge deal because it was the two leads of the biggest show in the world having this public romance. They tried to keep it behind the scenes, but they were photographed together. And it's also kind of interesting because, you know, he was a child star. He'd been famous for a long time, mostly for the Mighty Ducks movies. movies that still slap today.
Oh my God,
honestly.
Mighty Ducks movies are so good.
And Dawson's Creek was her first real acting job, which
Yeah.
is crazy. She came from a tiny little town, had never been to Hollywood before. I always remember this story that was circulating when she got cast on Dawson's Creek is that she had sent in a tape to the Dawson's Creek casting people, and it's just her and her mum sitting in this like little basement of their like tiny little home in this tiny little town, and her mum's being Dawson and Katie Holmes is being Joey Potter. And apparently she was so great that they were like, the auditions are happening today, we'll fly you to LA. And apparently she said to the casting team, I can't because I'm the lead in my school play, and I can't let I can't let the school play down. Like, I cannot let my community down. And so she did the play, and she was so good they let her fly in to LA later, and then she got the role of Joey Potter straight out of high school. At the time, because I was in primary school at the time that Dawson's Creek came out and all these stories were coming out, and I remember that story just going everywhere. And even as a child, I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, I would have left my hometown for dead. I would have left my school for dead. I would have been like, see you later, suckers. I'm going to Hollywood. But she's obviously a nicer person. Also, looking back with adult eyes now, I'm like, did that happen, or was it just a great PR story to introduce Katie Holmes to us?
I think a little
I
bit
want
of
to believe
both.
it really happened.
I think it's really nice because look, we love a bit of nostalgia. And recently, James Van Der Beek was on Masked Singer, and has an amazing voice, which nobody knew. But they've kind of been in the news quite a lot lately. So to see them on set together, and bravo to Katie Holmes for, you know, putting this project together, writing, directing, and starring in it. It's a huge undertaking for her. But it's really nice to see people being successful late in their later years after having that sort of child fame. I never watched Dawson's Creek very much. It was I was a little bit young for it. I wouldn't have understood it when I was in primary school. And I never went back and watched it, but God, that theme song is really...
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where people always say to me, like, can I watch Dawson's Creek for the first time now? And I always say yes, with the caveat that, like, it still is an incredible teen drama. I'd say it's one of the best teen dramas ever created. The pacing is really wild for how we would watch today. So, like, some of those seasons are a slog. But even when they get into their college years, it becomes very fast-paced. But the hook of the whole show, even though it's called Dawson's Creek, was always the relationship between Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson's, between their characters.
Joey and Pacey.
Yes, because it's that unexpected love story. It's that kind of a little bit enemies to lovers. It's the ultimate love triangle. I don't think a love triangle has been done that well on TV, I'm just going to say it, since Dawson's Creek. And it's kind of interesting because that show ran for so many seasons and they only dated for one season. They dated for the first season. And so that means the whole time that their characters are in love and making out, and like their characters lose their virginity to each other, and that's a whole big thing. It means that they weren't together. But I think people always sort of tried to make out that like there was anger between them. I think there was a storyline at one stage that Katie Holmes had cheated on Joshua Jackson. I'm going to choose not to believe that.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
She was a baby. I don't think that that's true. I've read articles of her after the fact, and she was like, you know, we had a great time. He was my first love, but it's teen love, and sometimes that is just runs its course. You hold a special place in your heart for it and you move on. But they have this undeniable chemistry on screen, and I think that's really hard for people to look at and see. How the hell can you not be in love off camera?
Well,
when it looks that good on camera.
It's so funny that you say how can you help me in love, because a really famous, I feel like this is in Dolly magazine, and maybe I pulled it out and like kept it in one of my little folders or something, where Joshua Jackson was talking about Katie Holmes, and he said, how can you not love kissing Katie Holmes when they first got together, because he was like kissing her on screen and kissing her off screen as well. So yeah, those two little cuties. And it's true, I feel like once Dawson's Creek was over, all of the cast, not just because of some people being married to crazy people and stuff, I think they all just needed to separate themselves from it, and that's why they weren't pictured together for years. They even said themselves they were not in contact or anything. But then there was those two catalysts that brought them back together. So one was that they did one of those big Entertainment Weekly reunion covers for the 20-year anniversary, and then they were all back in a group chat. And then also when James Van Der Beek announced his cancer, they said that they fired up the group chat again. They've all been in constant contact. And so I also think it's really nice that like you can't help but think like from the group chat, is that where this new project has come from. And also Katie Holmes, like I know she's out of the industry for a while. This is the third thing that she's directed, and she's writing it, and she's head of production, and she works on production of all these other projects. Like she's becoming a real Hollywood power player.
This is her comeback, and this is her way of getting back into it.
Yeah.
And first of all, great PR, very smart, well done. Second of all, it's undeniable how good they look together. Third of all, I would like to see James Van Der Beek on there because I really do love him as well.
Maybe that will happen.
He's actually, he's been popping up on my TikTok a lot. He's on my FYP a lot lately. And I don't know why, but there's something about him that I find very charming. And really...
also the man is a comedic genius. I know I've said this 1,000 times, but don't trust the bitch in Apartment 23 where he plays a fictionalized version of himself. The man should have won an Oscar.
Oh my God, I love it.
I know it's TV,
I love it when celebrities do that, when they play themselves, but they play like a very bizarre,
the man has excellent comedic timing. Not to kind of also sour the party, but Joshua Jackson's big TV show Dr. Odyssey just got cancelled, so potentially he also needs a job. And he hit up the group chat and was just like,
"Is he married?
Who can?" No, oh my gosh, he's going through. This is really sad. He's currently single, but not for a fun reason. He was married to Jodie Turner-Smith, and they had a very cute daughter together, and they were very in love. And she was a Dawson's Creek fan, so I do love that a fan finally got in there.
Oh no, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember.
They've
they've gone through a really yucky divorce.
They're going through a really bad divorce at the moment, and it's mostly to do a lot of. It's really upsetting. A lot of the court materials keep getting made public, which is really sad because they're in contention over the custody of their daughter.
No, now that you mention that, it reminds me.
And then
of
I think he was dating Lupita Nyong'o, although they never sort of went fully public, but they were kind of public.
Yeah,
and apparently that's fizzled out. And
I think when he started, once he separated from his wife, because they had such a beautiful like red carpet relationship, he was always all over her, and it was really gorgeous. And then they went through that very, very contentious separation. He ended up with Lupita Nyong'o, and then their divorce got really, really ugly. That's right. And now it's all coming back to me. It's flooding back.
So
that's not nice.
No, it's not nice. And also some of the stuff that Jodie Turner's, not to completely turn this isn't as hard when stuff comes about your crush, and this is why I feel like sometimes I have too much information, but I am on Jodie Turner-Smith's side that he kind of really love bombed her, and that was really an intense situation. So anyway, I hope those guys can work it out, especially because their daughter's involved. But yes, as far as we know, Joshua Jackson is out in the town, footloose and fancy free, in need of a job. And potentially he hit up his old friend Katie Holmes, who's now a Hollywood power player. And I just love that that's where we've ended up in life.